All right, cool. Hi, Alex. All right. Yeah, so I'm excited about this one, Alex. Okay, so just so that the folks on the call know what we're gonna be doing here a little bit, um, we're going to work with Alex's organization. I don't know, Alex, is your teammate Maria gonna join us, you think?
Well, we're dealing with a bit of a snow event here in Edmonton where we live, and she hasn't got to work yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Maybe later then. I guess you didn't ride your bike then this morning.
That is correct. Yes, yes.
And just so folks on the call know, from what I'll kind of uh, give Alex a little shout out here that maybe other people don't know, but Alex is a phenomenal cyclist, and I believe you cycled for Canada on the national team. Isn't that right?
Yes, it went to the World Championships pretty much every year in the 80s and in the Olympics in 84, and then turned professional
Wow,
after that. Yeah.
awesome.
And I raced in
Yeah.
the Tour de France, and the first North American to wear the yellow jersey at the Tour de France.
No,
Yeah,
wow, that's amazing. And then I think aren't you a cancer survivor too?
that's right. I went through prostate cancer 2 years ago and had surgery. I was very fortunate to have caught it early. It was because my doctor did the finger test and felt a lump and just had a bunch of tests and then, yeah, took it out.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Um,
life keeps going on.
Fantastic. Well, I'm gonna open up yeah. So what we're gonna be looking at here basically today, Alex and folks. So okay, so Alex is the head of TradesLink, and I don't know what your official title is, Alex, but TradesLink is an app that is owned by a construction industry association in Canada, and TradesLink is aiming to be the LinkedIn of the trades. And one of the things about TradesLink and about that their ecosystem is because they are part of this construction industry group, they have access to a lot of industry partners. Um, trade schools and other industry groups and large construction and industry organizations. And so and I'm working on the advisory board for TradesLink. And so one thing that I've worked on with Alex a little bit is about looking at partner channel outreach using AI. And so the background here of what I've advised Alex to look at is that, a lot of times these partner organizations, and so you could be thinking about things like, maybe your affiliates or your partners, or even things like press outlets. One thing that can really accelerate your uptake by those organizations is if you present them with already built content for them to promote. And they might edit it a little bit, or whatever. But like, for example, one really common thing in public relations is to go to an outlet and say, here's a story that I've written that, that covers what I'm talking about. And it shortens the cycle. If they're busy or they say, oh, I don't know that much about the story anyway, then they go and say, cool, I'm prepared now to either publish it or edit it or modify it a little bit, and then we'll put it out there. So what we're going to be doing is using AI to enable Alex and the team at TradesLink to mass customize and personalize outreach to channel partners. And it would help me, Alex, as we build out the prompt a little bit, to just have you be able to share, especially with text, some organizations, maybe one or two, maybe two would be good at least, that would be the kind of organizations that you all would reach out to. Maybe you have some in your mind, and we'll get there. We're going to be using this concept called a placeholder to run through these generative instances. But what I mean there is we're going to be sending these long prompts to an AI model, and then we're going to generate the content. That's so generations, you call it, maybe generative instances. And then just another quick preview. about what we're going to do today is we're going to be using probably the Claude 3 models. And they're in the Eazl application. And I know that I'm the AI nerd here, but Claude, which is the AI model that is developed by Anthropic, these are people that were high up at ChatGPT or OpenAI, and they left and started this company, Anthropic. They released these Claude models, and then they're on their third version of it now, and they are fantastic. They are very, very powerful, excellent models, and there's 3 of them. And we'll kind of look at how the cost is of those and preview a little bit of them. They basically have this one Claude 3 Haiku, which is the most affordable and quickest model, and I've been able to get fantastic results from that one. And then they have this Claude 3 Sonnet, which is kind of in the middle in terms of speed and ability to perform complex tasks. And that one's also in the middle on cost. And then they have this Claude 3 Opus, which you have to pay for these through the Claude platform if you don't use the Eazl platform. But Claude 3 Opus is brilliant and amazing, but it's very expensive. And some could be worth it, but we're going to look at those. All right. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to start doing a little bit of prompt design. And I'm going to open up the Eazl application and find the TradesLink prompt that I'm collaborating on with Alex. Okay, got it. And I'm going to share my screen here. All right. And if you all have anything that's on your mind about prompt engineering or anything what we're doing, please go ahead and you can raise your hand, and I'll acknowledge you, and we can talk about that. Don't be shy. And what you should be thinking here as we do this, honestly, just so you know where I think this is going, I think that newsletters within the next year or 2 are going to be a thing of the past. Because who wants a newsletter, right? Let me give you an example here. I'll share like a different window, and I can probably find this by just pulling up an email here, but I'll kind of show you what I mean. All right. Oh, that's one is personalized. Let's see here. Okay. So I'll share this real quick. All right. Window. We'll just do the yeah, there we go. All right. All right. So for example, this is a newsletter. They claim to be the world's #1 AI newsletter. Maybe so. But for example, like this whole thing here, this whole concept that you're going to be sending out bulk messages to anybody is all pre-AI era for me. And so, for example, like here, US pushes global AI rules at the UN. So like if these people were able to keep a profile on me and say, oh, he runs an AI platform in an online school, that could be personalized to me. It might say, here are what the UN global AI rule proposals are that impact US-based AI platforms, right? And all of this stuff here, these tech layoffs, like they would know that I have a career management course, right? And so you might be thinking for you, how could I do this for my stakeholders? How would this tech layoff be something that would, for example, for Alex's, for TradesLink, right? Like they have a job searching platform, basically. This would be different if it was personalized for people like for Alex, who runs a job searching platform. So that's what we're going to basically do. Even though we're talking about channel partners today and using TradesLink, what we're doing here is fundamentally the first step in personalizing outreach at scale. So let's go ahead and build out the prompt. Here we go. All right, cool. So this is a prompt that Alex and I have collaborated on already. And all right, so to start, what I'm thinking about here as we look at this is typically I will coach the folks that are in the Eazl world to lay out their prompts, starting with instructions, then context, and then output. And what I mean by that is when you have a long prompt like this, it's helpful to think about some type of architecture for it so that you can know where you want to change the prompt in order to get different results. And I think in this case, what you definitely want to have is context. Sometimes you want to create specific instructions, sometimes specific output. Instructions, typically we think about those as the rules and roles of the AI. So like if we were to look at some instructions, you might think about the instructions as, let's just do a simple instructions like you are an expert copywriter. All right, so I'll just take that and put that at the top. That's very simple instructions. Sometimes we get into instructions where we say, don't say this, do say this, use these words, don't talk about medical stuff, whatever the right thing is there. And especially when you're building things like chatbots, the instructions become much more important because you want to say like, don't let people ask you about politics or don't curse or whatever. But when we're using AI to generate marketing copy, I think you want to keep the instructions relatively limited because you kind of want to let the AI do its thing a little bit. And so Alex has gone in and put this information in. I kind of helped him structure this. I'll do a real quick breakdown for the folks on the call that aren't Alex to show what we're doing here. So this piece of content here, this note, this overview is something I encourage you to do regardless. Everybody on this call, in my opinion, should have an overview structured like this stored somewhere. You could do it in your Apple Notes app. You could do it in Google Keep. You could do it in the Eazl app. You could do it in Notion. You could do it in Google Docs. And what this is going to do is we're going to teach the AI on the fly about our organization. What does that mean? This is called in-context learning. So when we first started out with AI Space, we thought a lot about training models with custom data, and that's hard to do. We don't do that. I don't want to do that. It takes a lot of engineering effort and custom data sets, and we don't have to do that. What we can do instead is in the prompt, we can give the AI information about us, our organizations, and the AI will learn about it. And we'll be able to reference that information. And that's what Alex has done here. So he's put the vision of TradesLink here. And I encourage you to take the prompt engineering course I have. If you want to learn a little bit more about the structure, this is pretty simple stuff. But basically these tags, you see this overview here, and then / overview here. What we're doing is we're creating a boundary around that content so that when we reference this word, TradesLink here, I'm going to do this here. Let's call it. That's fine. Yeah. So now whenever we say TradesLink like that in our prompt right here where my cursor is, we're telling the AI, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the stuff in that boundary. So it's helpful for referring back to parts of our prompt as we go, and we can have multiple of these boundaries in our prompt. We should. And we're going to do some of that with what Alex was putting here in the chat here, information about these organizations. We're going to do that, for example, in some boundaries. And what you're looking at here with these hashtags is giving formatting to that content, because everything we pass to AI models is ultimately plain text at the end of the day, in most cases, because they are large language models, language meaning they are looking at natural language, but they do not understand formatting. You can't put bold in a prompt. If you do, it just is little symbols in the background. And those symbols are marked down, and that's what this is. Like this little hash is a way of creating a header. One hash means the biggest header, 2 means the second biggest, etc. And so what this does is tell the AI that here I'm going to talk about the vision of TradesLink, and here's the vision. And then here I'm going to talk about the brand identity, and here's the brand identity. And also that means that when we say reference the TradesLink brand identity, we're telling the AI, go into that TradesLink information, find the brand identity, and use that when you write, for example. Okay, Alex. So
Davis, a quick question, Dave.
Yeah.
Is it important that you put the caps like in brand identity?
No.
No,
What
okay.
is most important for Markdown? So like is really the line breaks. So like behind the scenes here, whenever you see a line break in like this text, if you were to look at this in computer code, you would see something like this. That right there. Your browsers typically don't display that, but that is behind the scenes when you look at strings, is what they're called. When you look at this data type, anytime you have a line break, you have this little thing like this or something similar. And that's what enables the AI model to say, oh, okay, cool. It's brand identity with the hashtag, that's its own line. And so the capitals don't necessarily matter. In fact, for what it's worth, there's this movement in the sort of tech space to eliminate the use of capital letters altogether, because people think that it takes extra time that you don't need to spend with capital letters. But whatever. Okay, now Alex, we're going to do what I was mentioning to you, I think, on a call earlier, which is use a placeholder. And this is something that is unique to the Eazl app. And you're going to see why this is a little bit unique, but you don't have to use this in your AI work. It's just something I built for convenience into this platform. So what we're going to do here is go up here and then add a placeholder here. And you're going to see what this does is put this in our prompt. So what we're going to do here is let's put it up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this placeholder. And Monica, I know you're on the call. I think it's important that you see this basic pattern as well. For everybody on the call, Monica is a founder in the science and AI space. And I know that she uses the platform a lot. And so I want, I want Monica to succeed here. And so I'm going to show Monica, make sure you're paying attention to this here. So when you use a placeholder, I'll just demonstrate like what fundamentally it does. And Alex, it's important that you see this. So when you click this files part right here, I have a number of files that I've stored in the Eazl app. And all a file is some text. So why don't we go ahead and do that for some of the links you put in here, Alex, of your trade partners, unless you've got them here. Okay, let's do BTA. Okay. So I'm just going to do something that's kind of a beginning use of this here, which is great. All right, so there's this organization that Alex sent in the link in the chat, and it's called Building Trades of Alberta, because they are in Alberta in Canada. And I know the Canadians have told me that you don't say really Alberta province. It sounds kind of weird.
You pronounce it with a D, then a T. It's Alberta, not Alberta. It's Alberta.
Alberta. Okay.
There you go. Just like you don't say Toronto. Just like you don't say Toronto. You say Toronto.
Toronto. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Great. So
we can tell if you're American if you say the words phonetically.
Yeah, I know. When I did a TV show thing in Alberta, and I said, we're going to go to Alberta province, and all the Canadians were like, you sound crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to add a little bit of structure here. If you all want to go, I'll put where this is coming from if you want to explore this in yourself. But there's this link here that I'm putting here in the chat. What I'm going to do is just go here, and this is a very simple usage of these files. For example, Monica, this is something where you might be putting in peer-reviewed research or articles that you want to summarize. You can put lots of text into these files. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of markdown here, because without this markdown, the AI is just going to read this as one long sentence. And so it can deduce some, but when I put this hashtag in here, what this is going to do is basically enable the AI to understand this structure. So like this is a subtitle in their text. And then let's see, where's this our history from the Edmonton trades? Here's, this is, all right, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna do this here. Oh, there we go. There's our history. Okay. All right. So what we've done here is basically created a little bit of text that has information about the building trades of Alberta. I'm going to save it to my files. And if you aren't using Eazl, you can just do this with whatever document management system you have or note-taking system you have. And so currently this is called untitled file. I'm going to rename this building trades of Alberta. Okay. Cool. And we're going to do one more, Alex. We'll do this skills Alberta. And I'm just going to their about section, but you know, if you want to, you can absolutely make this a little more detailed than what I'm doing here. You can add more information. All right, so I'm just going to paste in this. Okay, cool. What is skills Alberta? That's the big one. And then let's see. The mission, here we go. All right, and then the vision. All right, and this is called Skills Alberta. Okay, so now what we're doing with this placeholder is we're going to add these two files here to the prompt. All right, and so what we're doing here is you're going to see here that something has changed. Up here, this now says generate to, and Alex, that's important for you because what that is showing you is that when you run this prompt, you're not going to be generating one instance of it. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to be doing two generative instances of this prompt, one using the Skills Alberta text and one using the Building Trades of Alberta or whatever that other organization is called, right? And so this can handle up to 20 at a time. So for example, you and Maria, you might, for example, as the leader of the business, you might delegate that out to somebody junior and say, go to these organizations and get information about them and clean it up and structure it so that we can put that in our files, right? Because that can be useful for lots of reasons. Like, for example, like let's say that you're, going to go and you want to, you're going to go to a trade event, right? And you're like, cool, we're going to be meeting with these people, like use these files and create a summary for the people at the table about these organizations. There's lots of reasons to have this data readily available. And for what it's worth, for everybody on the call, like you see me setting this up, like we're 24 minutes into this call and you're thinking like, this seems kind of slow. I think about this sometimes too. You're like, this is taking 24 minutes and we haven't seen anything yet. One thing I've seen in the AI space is that we're very quick to think that it's not worth the upfront investment of what we're going to get down the line. But if you think about this, we are basically 3 or 4 minutes away from generating this copy, at least the first version of it. So then you think, and if Davis wasn't talking so much and it wasn't a webinar, then maybe we would be in here 15 minutes deep, but then we're going to generate and we're going to be done, or we're going to be very close to being done. So it's a little bit of a different like sort of reward dynamic I've found that we need to get used to, which is you're putting in some work up front to build a little AI machine, but then you can use it basically infinite times. So if you're using AI professionally, it is going to take a bit of time, and ultimately you're going to save a tremendous amount of time, because could you have written 2 personalized newsletters in 20 minutes, say? Probably not. All right. So Alex, to continue down this line, before we generate here, we're going to do 2 things. First, we're going to wrap the placeholder in those delimiters, which I know you learned about because you got your prompt engineering certificate, and so that we can reference them in our output. This is where our output is going to be right here. We're going to change this a little bit. So let's do the delimiter reference. What I'll do here is I'm going to drag this up and I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to say, and this is for everybody watching, this is a pattern I encourage you to use over and over and over again. You're going to say in between the, let's call them org tags. And that doesn't matter. It does not matter what you call this, as long as it's consistent, opening and closing. And you'll see what I mean here. You'll find information about organization, about partner organization. Hereafter, the org. And then I'm going to do this. All right. So all this app is doing with the placeholder is every time you generate, it's going to inject that text into the prompt. So we still need to apply the basic prompt engineering practices. And here we're going to do /org. And anybody who's done any HTML has seen this pattern a lot, but don't be intimidated by this. That's it. That's how you use delimiters. Anything here, and then / and then close it there. And you've now created a boundary. So now when we do something like, say, refer to the org, now we're going to tell the AI to go and look at the information about the org. But really what we're going to do here is structure our output. And in this case, again, we want, I think what we should do here is give the AI some guidance on what we want it to say and about the length that we want it to come out and where it can find that information. You can do really tight output structuring where you say generate 3 sentences and a subtitle and this many characters, and that will totally work. I don't really know if we need it in this case. Actually, let's make this, I'll tell you what, so we get a little bit of reward for the people on the call, let's do something real simple, and then we're going to enhance it by adding some writing samples to it. So maybe we'll say something like, now I want you to help me generate a newsletter that the org, capital O, can send out to their audience announcing that TradesLink has a new contest where people who sign up for the platform have a chance at winning a $200 gift card to Home Depot.
How'd you know we're doing that?
I didn't know you're doing, well, I know Dave is, our mutual friend is friends with the Home Depot guy, but I didn't know you're doing that. Is that a deal?
It is, yeah. We're going to a trade show, April 6th and 7th, and it's a $500 Home Depot gift card.
Okay, so let's do it. April 6th and 7th. So we'll do this. Oh, let's do that next. We'll actually get the info about the trade show. We'll make it even better. And we'll do some writing samples. I'll show you. Okay. Make the newsletter 3 paragraphs long, detailing why the members of the org's audience would want to join TradesLink. Give the newsletter a fun and informative title. Okay, so this is some real basic output structuring here, but now what we're going to do is we're going to generate, and we're going to choose a model here. And so there's a lot of models you can use on the Eazl platform. If you want to know any more about them, just click this little I button. Because I'm on the webinar, let's use this Sonnet. Well, screw it. Let's use the Claude. Let's use the Opus. This is the expensive one, and we can start to see exactly how much it costs. But we'll use Claude 3 Sonnet. It'll take a little longer because it's the more complicated model takes a little longer. And then you're going to see it's going to generate 2 instances for us. And let's check them out. And I guess while this is loading, just to like sort of push your brain and where this will go, if any of you folks on the call, Tyrell, Joey, if any of you guys are really thinking about marketing at scale, you can do this via API call. And if you don't know what an API call is, basically you can do this in any program. So like, for example, you can generate all of your email marketing messages through here in batches, 2,000, 5,000, 20,000 personalized messages. And it will be important which model you use because the expense will matter at that scale. All right, cool. So let's check out, you can see here the file. It's told us where this is using the Skills Alberta file. So let's check it out. And I'll kind of see if I can zoom in. Yeah, it's okay. I wish that it would have done a little more in that that is kind of more centering on why the org is associated with it. So let's ask a follow-up. And let's just use the Claude 3 Haiku. It's a little bit cheaper. Let's see if it does a good job. Okay, this is pretty good. But I want you to include more information about why the org's audience should care. All right, now I'm following up because we're using the Eazl interface here, but just if you're thinking about doing this in your marketing programs, you're not going to get a chance to follow up. So you're going to need to make sure that your prompt is really, really well engineered because, you know, you're not going to be monitoring each one that it creates. Okay. Let's see if it says anything better here. Okay, as a member of the Skills Canada Alberta community, you understand the challenges and opportunities that come with being a tradesperson. Maybe, Alex, you can be the judge of if this is any good.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think we have to give it a little bit more context around what Skills
Yeah.
Canada Alberta does.
Yeah.
Because they run competitions for high school and youth to showcase their trade skills as they're moving on towards a trade school, and so there's this competition element to them that and because we're going to be displaying at their competition May 8th and 9th when all these kids come to showcase their trade skills.
Yeah.
So it's
I
more
think
about
that was in there though. You see in the note or in the
that's
file.
true. Yeah.
You know, it should have done better. So let's go. Let's go here. Let's go here and just let's retry this with another model and see if it does any better. All right, let's try it with let's do GPT-4. Let's see.
It did say something about showcasing your work in that text, like second.
And then we'll go see how the other organization did. But this is something I'm really proud of in the Eazl app is that all these models, you know, I actually am finding that like you don't really know which model is going to work best for which stuff all the time. And it's good to be able to bounce around a little bit and see. And while it's generating through GPT-4, we can see how much this cost with Claude 3 Opus. So it cost about 6 cents. There's Haiku. Let's see how much the Haiku one cost. The Haiku one cost 1/10 of a cent, so much, much cheaper. And then let's see GPT-4.
And how much difference do you see with the free version of GPT versus the paid version?
GPT-3. Honestly, I don't mess with that stuff. This is professional work, so I'm using the good stuff. I think that really, like, for example, that Claude 3 Haiku model, it is excellent. But honestly, to be totally honest, Google is really trying to flex in this space. And the way that Google is trying to flex is because Google has access to data centers that are they just have so much more capital than OpenAI or Anthropic or any of the other AI companies, that the cost of Google's Gemini model is so low. So to be honest, if you really are doing this stuff at scale, it's pretty hard to beat Google's models. And they're pretty good. But you're always like, for you, Alex, if you're doing 20, 20 newsletters, I don't know. I think this GPT-4 is better because like it looks like it's much more about it takes more information. It did a little better job, and we can see what the cost was. About almost exactly the same as Claude 3 Opus, so about 6 cents. So if you're doing 20 of them, I don't know, what does that work out? $1.20. It's not that bad. Okay, and then we'll check out the other one here. Building Trades of Alberta. We'll see how this one did.
Why does it only give us 3 paragraphs? Did we tell it to do that at some point?
Yes, we did. We did here in the.
Okay.
This is where you get in the output here. We said. Make the newsletter.
I see now. Yeah.
Okay. But I think it's a good question, because if you say, watch if we take this out. Well, if we just do detail, why the members of the horizontal. Okay. So now if we generate, let's just use haiku. Now we're going to give the AI the license to decide, right? And this is why I think haiku is so fast. But this is why I think one thing that's important is to have a prompt management system where you can go and easily iterate, because you need to tweak. But yeah, so this one, it's a little bit salesy, and it doesn't really talk about their stuff as much.
Yeah, it got our URL wrong, so we didn't tell it what our URL was. So.
Oh, right.
It's gettradesLink.com, not TradesLink.com. Anyway.
Yeah, so maybe up here, so you update the overview. So there is a little bit of iteration here.
Yeah.
Okay, but so let's expand this. Let's think minimum. Let's do your use case, Alex. So what's this event called on the 5th?
Yeah, it's I put the link in the chat. It's called the Construction Expo.
Okay, cool.
April 6th and 7th, and it's in Surrey, BC. So it would be targeted to specifically a region of where tradespeople are.
Perfect.
There you go.
Okay, cool. Let's see if it has any other information. It's got the seminars. Okay, testimonials. Let's see if in here it's got a little more info.
It's not the best website that he's got there.
We just got FAQ, not a lot of info. Okay, well, let's go back into our prompt here. And then so what we can do here is we'll add another one here. So like in between the event tags, you'll find information about an upcoming event where TradesLink will be presenting. All right, again, hereafter the event. Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. So now we're going to just like move this up a little bit in our prompt. Okay. So now let's just modify our output to just tell it to take into account the event, and we'll do the $500 gift card thing. So here we go. So I want you to help me generate a newsletter that the org can send out to their audience announcing that TradesLink. So basically, you're going to give away the $500 gift card at the event. Is that right?
Yeah, for anyone that signs up to TradesLink and joins the Home Depot crew.
Okay, so TradesLink will be running a contest at the capital E event where people who sign up for the platform and join the Home Depot crew on TradesLink
Yeah.
have a chance of winning a $500 gift card to Home Depot. Okay. Let's see, create a great newsletter that the org can distribute to their audience. Announcements. All right, we'll just start here.
Okay.
And I was liking what we saw with GPT. Let's try Gemini. Gemini's cheap, and let's see how it does. All right. But anyway, so this is, so hopefully like you're kind of getting this. And then so just if any of you all on this call, I can't see all your names, but just so you know how this at least works within the system that I'm designing and used, the placeholder is what will accept information in your API calls. So meaning, let's say you have a CRM with 200 contacts in it, right? And then what you want to do is create a personalized message for each one. Whenever you make the API call, which means you're calling Eazl to have it do this stuff, then whatever you send in your API call goes in the placeholder. So you need to build your prompt like I'm just doing here, and then send in the placeholder, here's the contact, here's Alex's info, and then you'll get these results. Okay, cool. So let's see, Alex. Let's see what you think about these results here. Oh, valued members, a little bit generic.
But I like how it put in the headers, the Y TradesLink, join home, sort of breaks it apart into sections.
Yeah, that is, I agree. I like that too. So I think we got that by eliminating too much of the structuring, in the output. This says, dear valued friends. I don't know. It didn't, Gemini didn't really, I don't like it. I think it should be a little more personalized here. Let's say create a great, make sure you connect the event, trades, and with the information you find about the org. All right, cool. Let's see if this will personalize it a little bit better. And we'll go ahead. Let's use this. Let's use this one. Okay. Cool. This would be a good time for any Q&A. If anybody has any questions, this is kind of where I wanted to get to with Alex. So Alex, if you or anybody else wants to raise their hand and share anything about what you're working on or any questions, please do. Okay, cool. This is a little better. Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah. So obviously the Skills Alberta Canada won't be the target because this event is taking place in British Columbia, not in Alberta. But if I had a profile,
Oh yeah, I just changed to the other one. Yeah.
But let's say I targeted this newsletter to the Vancouver Regional Construction Association, the VRCA. So the VRCA now has this to send out to their members saying, we will be at the Construction Expo. If you're a VRCA member, come and visit us. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think also like one thing that has helped me with these prompts and building out these nice prompts that could be relevant to you and some other folks on the call is, you saw basically you saw me craft all of this prompt. I mean, by hand, like I wrote it out. You did some of it and then I, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But look, let me show you like another thing that like basically what I'm getting at here is you can use AI to help you build your prompts too. So like, what was that? What'd you call it? Vancouver Regional?
Vancouver Regional Construction Association, VRCA.
So like, let's say that we find like, let's say that we find like, hopefully some good amount of text. So
Yeah,
resources, let's
they've
say
got a good
jobs and careers. Okay. Oh, cool. So they've got lots of stuff here. So like
They do.
BRCA Construction Jobs Center. Ooh, add your resume. That's important to know.
I think, yeah, I think you have to be, you have to sign in, it's behind a paywall basically there.
Okay, cool. So like, let's just look at how we could use AI to help us actually generate that information about the files. All right, so like if we go here and then let's start a new prompt and we're like, cool. In between the info tags, you're going to find a bunch of links posted by the Vancouver Regional Construction Authority
Association.
Association. Okay, so we'll do this. So like this just looks like a bunch of, stuff. And then we're like, okay, cool. Now, use what you see in the info to deduce what the Vancouver Regional Construction Association does.
You missed an I there. Yeah.
Does make this description.
Oh, I see. Huh.
And like in this case, like these are, I don't know, this is kind of, we'll see how this works, but like this would be a good time to use like a really good model like Opus. But if you did take like a PDF or a big amount of text or a report or whatever and put that in there, like that's something that the AI can definitely do. All right, well, this is booting up. I got a question from somebody here. Lynette, can you speak which AI platform is best for small business owners creating bite-sized promo content? Well, obviously, Lynette, I think Eazl is, because what Eazl really does is enable you to store your context information. And I'll show you what I mean there in a second. It's pretty good. Yeah, so like that would be an example, Alex, of like, then
Yeah,
you could take this and put this into your files.
This is amazing. Yeah.
All right, so like just to answer Lynette, like, I mean, okay, so a couple things about, I do not mean to make this an Eazl pitch, but like what I see in the space, this is why I built what I built. So like, for example, like when I look at my labels here and I'm like the Eazl app, if you want to in the comments, you can talk about what kind of business you do, Lynette, and like I can make it custom to you what I'm saying. But like I have these notes in the Eazl app, like the Eazl technical overview, how the app works, the overview of the business, our branding guidelines. This is similar stuff to what Alex built out. And the way that this app works is you go and you select this different content and then you build prompts out of it. And the reason that for small business, I think this is important is because you're not going to have the resources. Wellness coaching. All right, cool. So like wellness coaching, right? Like, great. So like you're like, your clients, the packages you offer, your brand, the community you're in. And all that information can be used to create more personalized results. That's basically what we've been working on with Alex. And so you don't have to use the Eazl app to do this, but it makes it really nice and easy for you to manage that stuff in your prompts. And I'm also going to be offering a pay-as-you-go structure here soon, so it'll be really affordable. But fundamentally, whatever you do, in my opinion, you want to teach the AI model about your business and your personal viewpoints and industry data as you generate. Because if you go to like ChatGPT and you're just like, generate tweets for me about wellness, it's so generic it's like nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see that on socials. They can tell it's written by an AI. You need to be giving it more comprehensive prompts. I'm like, honestly, what we've been doing here, if I had my um, dream with TradesLink here, TradesLink would have a similar to what I have for Eazl. The functionality of the app. And I'll I'll show you some examples here. Let's see. I think I have one here for creating customized. Well, okay. For example, this is a little different, but this is like basically a chatbot that I built, and this has this information like the functionality of the app. So I'm like, how do you add a note? Oh, here we go. How do you add a note? So just with this one line, because I've saved all that information, and again, you don't have to use the Eazl app for this, but this is why I built it this way, then you will then be able to have the AI go and get you results based on your stuff. So here, to add a note, go and click the Eazl logo in the top left-hand corner of the screen. After you click the search bar, do this. So like for small businesses who don't have the resources of custom trained models and engineers and stuff like this, you need to have a way of training these models on the fly. Beyond that, I mean, what I'm seeing is that the AI models are fluctuating really fast. So for example, I don't know if you guys saw this controversy with Gemini when like it was creating like, images of Black people as the founding fathers. But politics aside, what happened is Google got really scared when that happened, and they made Gemini a lot weaker because they wanted to make sure that Gemini wasn't doing any crazy stuff. So for like a couple weeks, Gemini really sucked. And then what you'll see is that like OpenAI has a similar thing. I don't know if you guys, this is crazy. We don't even understand why this happens, but OpenAI got ChatGPT basically. ChatGPT got lazy at Christmas. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but they think that in the training data set, something about ChatGPT noticed that it was Christmas time and that people chill at Christmas. So the model actually got lazy. And then Anthropic comes and releases these Claude models, which are cutting edge. And if you get locked into one of these platforms, you never know how it's going to go. And I think that from a business standpoint, I think that you can't accept that. You need to start building things that are stable and durable that you can rely upon. And that means to me, you can't rely on one AI model company to do that. But apart from that, if you're just asking about the model usage, I mean, basically they all offer the same thing, $20 for supposedly unlimited. It's not totally unlimited. They will stop you if you do a lot. But also for what you're talking about, Lynette, like you might want to get in a situation where you do something like a placeholder where you can generate a lot of this stuff. And if you're going to be copying, pasting, it can be kind of slow using these other interfaces. But from a model standpoint for that kind of stuff, I mean, Claude is great. ChatGPT is great too. For what it's worth, Claude and Anthropic were created more for like language tasks, like creating content more. Like they're used as like customer service a lot and stuff like that. And ChatGPT is more like it does all these things like code and all this kind of stuff. But they're all really good. I mean, these models are bananas awesome, and they're going to get better. All right, cool. Anybody else have any questions before we close? Or Alex, you got any things you want to address before we button this up?
No, this has been fantastic. We're going to play with this and yeah, just try a whole bunch of different things here. I think it gives you so many different sort of tools to leverage. Fantastic.
So two things, Alex. One, I would convert this to a note. The reason is that will mean that like when you go to your notes interface in the Eazl app, that piece of text is there all the time, which means it's really easy for you to edit. And then you should also, after you convert it to a note, you can let Maria and Dave and whoever you want collaborate on it so they can go and make changes and it'll all be reflected there. The other thing that I want to show you is you can duplicate a prompt. So if you like this basic structure, but you want to like say, I'm going to do this for whatever, go just duplicate the prompt like this. And then when you go here, just like rename it like, Vancouver event.
Okay.
And now you've got your, but you can change it so that it works for that. And then once this is a note, whenever you change that note, then you're going to see it reflected in all the prompts it's in. Anyway, so like I would, yeah, for what it's worth, I would do that. I would convert it. It would be like, it'll be one of these guys here. I would convert that to a note and maybe put some, honestly, Alex, if you think about it from a leadership standpoint, and maybe people on the call will recognize this, but if you delegate out and have Maria do AI oriented tasks, like I assume she's one of your assistants,
Mm-hmm.
You're building like marketing infrastructure that you can keep using.
Right.
Whereas like if you let it stay all in her head and she doesn't stay there anymore, like it's not the company's asset anymore. Like, let me show you this functionality thing, which I worked on with this guy, Lucas. He usually comes on the calls, but let's see. All right. Functionality. Here we go. Look at how long this note is. It's a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
but this details every button on this app. And that means that you can do so much with it. And if you're having juniors or interns or, like this is great stuff to have people do, even if you don't use the Eazl platform, get them to put this into documentation so that you can start having the AI models know what you're talking about. I mean, like if you start, I'll go show you guys this ChatGPT stuff, but like, I just want to show you like just as an example here. Yeah, cool. All right. So use case. This is not in the Eazl app. This is use case that is done through ChatGPT. I store these notes, as you just saw, and I copy the text of the prompt. And so before I go and use ChatGPT, I paste it in this overview, elaborate overview of what I'm doing. And like you could do this for TradesLink, Alex, you could do it for your work, your role. And then so look at how long this is. Look at how much text I'm giving ChatGPT before I even ask a question. More, more, more. Okay. And then I'm going and I'm saying, here's the question. I think it's like something here. I put in this code and I ask the question. Now ChatGPT knows everything about my stuff and it can give me specific recommendations that in line with exactly what I'm doing. And like, I'm kind of like an evangelist about this, but everybody on this call should have a really nice, some way of getting an overview to these AI models about what you're doing. But another thing, only thing you have to consider, if you are sending private information, like client information to these models, then they will learn from it if you use the consumer grade interfaces. So if you are using anything that you don't want to, you can't leak out, I wouldn't be doing that in the consumer grade interfaces. That's another reason that I built the Eazl platform, but it's not just me. I'm sure there's other platforms out there where you can do this, but do know that like, if you do share information in these public interfaces, like, it could be against some of your corporate policies or some of your privacy agreements that you have with some of your stakeholders. Cool. All right. That's it about on the hour. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Davis. Great.
All right. I'll record this and post it soon. See y'all later.
Thank you.